So it's time to film the second garden arcana, which I'm loving doing. So this week it's the turn of the Hierophant, the Emperor and the Lovers. So I'm going to wander around the garden and I'm going to talk about those three energies in the garden. I found some plants and I found some different aspects of the garden that make me think of those things, and I'm going to share them with you now. It's just been so lovely as I've been working in the garden just to think of those energies. I've just loved it, and it's been slightly easier this week to get out here and work because we've had some sunshine and it's a beautiful warm day today as well. So we're going to start with the Emperor, and I know exactly what I need to talk about for the Emperor. So the Emperor is my birth card, and it's a card that I think I've struggled with over the years, but there was a time in my life where, well, there has been a time and there still is a time where I've had to really encompass my Emperor energy and really make sure that I'm rolling my sleeves up and I'm getting on with the job. And the thing that most sums up that in the garden are these pallets. Can you see these really long pallets? So these were all collected from a house not far from me. The landlord was evicting people who had trashed the place. They'd filled the garden up with piles of these pallets, which he advertised on Free Cycle for anybody to come and collect. When I turned up, he opened the back garden gate, and I am not joking, the whole garden was like 10 foot high with rubbish, and through the bags of rubbish I had to make a track to get to about 50, 60 of these pallets piled up at the bottom of the garden. And I am not joking, there were times when I thought, what the hell am I doing? But I tell you why I did it, and why I did about 50 trips with pallets in the back of my car to and from this horrendous garden. It's because of the Emperor energy. I needed to step into Emperor energy. I'd got the dogs. The dogs were jumping into the garden on repeat when I'd got just Rupert then. They were digging everything up. Everything I planted was getting dug up. They were jumping from the steps into here, then into the back garden. The lawn area had been totally trashed with them getting in and charging ground. And I knew before I could plant anything in these two beds or anything beyond this gate, I needed to have a way of securing and fencing off areas to make this work with lurchers. So I got somebody round to quote me mates rates for fences, and even with mates rates, to put this fence in here and that fence over there and one gate going across here, it was £500, and I just couldn't afford it. I was newly divorced. I'd gone down to zero income because I'm a full-time carer. My divorce had cost me thousands. There was literally no money, and there never has been any budget for doing this sort of garden stuff. Hence the fact you see tyres and you see pallets. I knew then that if I wanted a garden, I would either have to, my two choices were do it myself for free or don't do it at all. And I think at that point, that's when I stepped into Emperor energy, and that's why I did the trips to collect all these pallets. They were really unusual because they were so long, and I knew that I could turn them on their end and do things like this with them. So I'm going to walk you around the garden and I'm going to show you the pallets and the free wood that I've collected over the years in Emperor energy. It is the pallets that have allowed me to build a garden, and it's also taught me how to work with wood. So the first thing we've got pallets on their side resting on bricks, also collected on Free Cycle. This was to give me a place to do pots because the dogs were also digging out all the pots as well. So that was the first use of the pallets, either side going all the way round. and they've been brilliant for years. Then of course I used it to build the fences there and to build the fences there. Of course that meant I had to dismantle the pallets, which was another skill that I learnt. From dismantling the pallets, I also started building a wall along here with them, which I still haven't finished. Then when we had the hot tub, to stop the dogs from weeing up the hot tub or biting it, I built this hot tub surround. That was built with the pallets as well, and also 3 planters that I got given. So that has been lovely to do. The most recent pallets have been these 2 that I collected from the side of the road. That's to fully seal it off this end, because I had a gap there. Let's take you on up the garden, because that isn't all I use the pallets for. I also used them to make the raised garden beds as well, so the base. The reason that I needed garden beds up here, the dogs had used this as a racetrack and had charged around for years, and I'd got no grass left, and I couldn't plant directly into the soil because of the roots from all the trees and the conifer as well. So the only way to plant was to make raised garden beds. So it did another 3 raised garden beds there. It also did all of this fence work up here. So I've been working up here this week. I'll show you in the vegetable garden the bit that I've cleared, but all of this fence along here and the gates here were all made with either reclaimed single pallets, but again these long sections here were made with those pallets that you saw. Also, believe it or not, in there is another raised garden bed, and there is a raised garden bed in there as well. So you can really see the difference between the areas that I've done or not done and the areas that I've actually done. So you can see I've been unearthing the pathwork in here and just seeing how everything's growing. The goji berry is growing beautifully, as is the blueberry bush that I put in last year. We've got forget-me-nots that came, which I just grabbed a handful of those last year. There were a couple of climbers that didn't make it, which was a shame. But yeah, these fences, it really was a me like facing up to realising I learned to do it myself, or you just have to accept you can't have it. That was my only option. You find a way to do it for free, because that's also the only option. So all of this and all of the gates you see were all free. All of these wood was the pallets. I remember when I used up the last of these long pallets, it was almost like a panic of, oh my gosh, what do I do now? But I think, to be honest, most of the fence work in the garden has been achieved, which I am just so thrilled about. So that is definitely my Emperor energy, but I'm also going to add in my magic tree, this gorgeous tree here, which is a silver birch. This is also the Emperor, surely, looking down over the garden, and it's called the magic tree because the kids used to come out and ring all of the wind chimes. This all needs sorting out. They used to stand and ring these wind chimes when they wanted some magic. So these, they're tangled as anything. These have been on here, oh my gosh, these have been on here for 17 years. So this is our magic tree, the silver birch. So that has got to be Emperor energy too. So sat out here at the garden table, you have to excuse any noise from the neighbours. I've got piles of cards here that I thought I would share with you. First of all, some of my favourite Emperor cards. I mean, I just love the fact that this Emperor is just so feminine. It's just really beautiful. This is from the, is it the Beautiful Creatures Tarot? I just love that one. Again, from the Elemental Power Tarot, this Emperor, you can see like the room with the ram in the background. There's chili peppers as the plant. You've got trees again in there. You've got steps leading up to this chair. I just love the way that this deck manages to do majors with no people in them. I just think it's brilliant. Of course, the Somnia Tarot, which I just could not remember the name of last week. I love the anvil over this Emperor's head. It really does speak to the responsibility of the Emperor. You know, he's holding the anvil. If he lets go at all, then that's landing on his head. It's very much how I felt in my situation as a single mom with a special needs child as well in the mix. It does very much feel like you're the one holding the anvil above your own head with all the responsibility. And my garden fences are testament to the fact that I have survived it. This is the Rainbow Moon Tarot, which I love. This is the Authoritarian here, just pink shoulder pads and puff sleeves, and this character, I just love that. I love the Emperor in the Raincoast Pocket Tarot. Again, it's just the detailed imagery in Christoph James's artwork. There's just so much to work from, and I just love these creatures at the base of his throne. And this one, this is Chris Ann's Curious Creatures. I think this really sums up that solid, unmoving energy of the Emperor. You can just see a sea lion on a big rock, like a moving and stable and firm and really secured down, not flighty or flippant. It's just a brilliant depiction of Emperor energy. And finally, this deck, the Chrysalis Tarot. Oh my gosh, this deck, I've been working with it all month. The Emperor's the green man. Again, you've got that idea of the tree and being rooted, but like being secure and stable, somewhere safe enough to build a nest. I just love it. And I've literally just had a butterfly virtually identical to that one just fly past me. From the Silver Birch, I am going to take you over to this bed over here. Oh, listen to the bird, which is looking rather lovely. But last time I was in the garden, I think I mentioned this plant at the back, which I bought really cheaply, and I said I hadn't really seen it flower, so I was excited to see if it would flower this year. And look at it, isn't that just gorgeous? Now this is a Scotch broom, and you can get them in all sorts of colours. I think mostly they're sort of orangey yellow, but this is a red one, and I just thought it was perfect for the Hierophant because it literally looks like a bishop's hat. It's perfect colours as well. That reminds me of the colours in the Rider-Waite-Smith Hierophant card, and I'm just loving it at the back of this bed, which again is reclaimed. This was a paddling pool somebody was throwing it away at the tip, and I grabbed it before he threw it in. These, I've said before, are raised food delivery containers that they refused to take back with them because I'd left them out on the driveway for them and they didn't return, then they wouldn't take them. So you can see again, all done for nothing, but with this gorgeous sort of Hierophant plant at the back, a Scotch broom. I mean, it looks like lots and lots of Hierophants all having a bishop's meeting or something. I love it. I really love it. So that just seemed perfect for Hierophant energy. Hierophant cards now. I just love the colours in this Dame Darcy Alice deck. The worm, the slug worm thing, whatever it is, on the toadstool, giving Alice advice. Fantastic Hierophant. I love this wise old man sitting cross-legged in his yoga pose in the Ellis deck, another really favourite one. Again, the Hierophantess. I love the change of name. I love the figures in the background as well, and I love the fact she's using music in this to spread wisdom. I love this Hierophant card from the beautiful creatures. The Kawaii Tarot, oh my gosh, will you just look at this? A chubby unicorn Hierophant, just completely perfect. And another tree, the oldest one. This is from the Enchanted Forest Tarot, that Hierophant as an old wise tree. Again, that kind of solid rooted energy, just completely wonderful. I love this. This is again is from the Elemental Power Tarot. I love this sort of roadside shrine as a Hierophant that you can go and visit. Love that. I just love the beauty of the Muse Tarot Hierophant. It's just so wonderful. The Hierophant as the teacher and clarity, and the Hierophant from the Somnia. I know a lot of people don't like this shrouded, claustrophobic, sort of covered head, but I love that. I think it's fabulous. And a Hierophant on a stack of books. Isn't this fantastic? This is from the Wisdom Tarot. This is, of course, number 17 for the Hierophant, because the majors are in reverse order, but this one with the dog lying in front and all of your teaching set out on a rug. I just love this really earth-based feeling for the Hierophant. This again is from the Rainbow Moon Tarot. I love the fact that this Hierophant is called Rooted, and he has a walking stick, and again he looks firm and stable and well rooted. It's got that lovely, like, trustworthy Hierophant energy. And how beautiful is this Hierophant card from the Philarcos Tarot? The artwork in this deck is just truly stunning. I love the idea of a lantern for the Hierophant. This is Raven's Prophecy Tarot, and like the fireflies being drawn to the lantern, I love that. And again, the Chrysalis Tarot, it's such a brilliant deck. The Divine Child as the Hierophant. The Hierophant is the inner voice that tells us we have the divinity living within us, and to listen to that inner voice as we travel through life, to paint our own colours, to make sure we are in control of the story. Probably one of my all-time favourite Hierophant cards. It really is such a glorious day today. I've got Tilly at home with me today. We've just got back from the garden centre. We've been buying soil and some plants for her birthday pot to do. You can see, look, the fern's now opened and all the hostas in here. Oh, it's looking rather lovely. So our last energy for this Garden Arcana is the Lovers. Now, the roses are yet to open, as you can see. Roses, no roses as yet. So I've just been having a wander around, wondering what to pick as the Lovers energy. But I think, listen to the birds, I think I might go into Tilly's secret garden, because I've been doing a clear up in there. We've got lots of new plants to plant in today that she chose herself at the garden centre, but getting it ready for her to do some seed throwing and raking. I did, which I've shown in another video, put in a couple of hydrangeas, and I know that hydrangeas are I think they have a sort of split meaning. They kind of have a double-edged meaning. In some areas of the world they mean like everlasting love. In other areas they mean betrayal. But isn't that a great all-encompassing remit for lovers' energy and choices, the choices that we make in relationships? Do we enter relationships with honour and integrity and walking a line of virtue, or are we choosing a different path, choosing to be selfish or to lie? So I am going to pick my hydrangeas for the lovers' energy. So they went in the other day. I'm going to see if the position is all right for them. So far I've managed to kill every single hydrangea I've ever planted in this garden, apart from the climbing one at the top. I am beginning to spin the camera around again. I realise it's because I can't help myself. I just love all the things to look at. So you can see I've dug out some space for sunflowers when we finally get round to planting sunflowers. This is all dug out ready for Tilly to put wildflower seeds in. I've got a few more heuchera that we found, which I want to plant in as well, which Tilly chose. She chose a beautiful yellow one. But that's it. I think that those hydrangeas are really all-encompassing for lovers' energy. Start again with the chrysalis. Look how beautiful and fairy tale like this lovers card is in the chrysalis. It is just so gorgeous. Dame Darcy's Alice Tarot. I love the King and the Queen of Hearts with the butterfly depicting the lovers. Love that. And the Lord of the Rings Tarot. I just love this version. It's one of my all-time favourite decks, I think, this Lord of the Rings Tarot. I'm loving it. The Ellis deck has this beautiful sort of fairy rendition of the lovers. Fantastic colours. And this one makes me giggle from the beautiful creatures. It's like some sort of medieval doll room that we've entered. I just love it. It's got art history vibes all over it. The Kawaii Tarot, chubby bunnies in a hug as lovers. And the Enchanted Forest. Again, this deck, just every card, it's just a winner. It's so beautiful. I could not leave the Elemental Power Tarot out. Again, I just love the way they do the majors in this deck with a plant and no people, just a scene set up. I just love it. Now in the Somnia, I love all the ladders going out of the cards. Puts you in a place where you're asking questions. Where are we going? Where are we now? Where does that ladder lead? What's the next step? And that always adds such a lot to my readings with this deck. I love the staircases. I love the ladders. I also love the fact that one tree is on fire. There's just so much in that lovers card to read with. And the lovers as red roses. Of course, red roses are to do with romantic love, but also swans and the way swans mate and how loyal they are to their mate. Swans and red roses in a lovers card. I love it. Probably one of my all-time lovers cards is the Witch's Wisdom lovers card, which shows a witch, a young witch, with her familiar, which is a fox. Isn't that absolutely wonderful? And this lovers card, which is Unity. Now I got the wrong name of this last garden arcana, and you're gonna have to excuse me talking over somebody working in their garden. I said that this was from Tarot for Kids and last time, and it isn't Tarot for Kids. It is, I have forgotten. I will put it on screen now, But isn't that just a beautiful rendition of the Lovers card? And finally, this is the card that made me buy this deck. This is Poppy Palin's Everyday Enchantment Tarot, and I just love the fact you've got different ages represented. You've got the swans in the background, which I adore, and you've got the dog in there as well. I just think it's just so wonderful. Look how sunny it is out here today. Oh, it's so lovely. Oh, let me just show you this wild geranium, which has gone over, but look at the seed pods on it. Aren't the seed pods just gorgeous? I think they're as nice as the flowers. And when the sun hits them right, look, how sculptural and fantastic is that? Isn't that just wonderful? And that is a wildflower that people pull out. It never ever ceases to amaze me what people will and won't class as valuable in a garden. I love it so much. Oh, and I tidied up the greenhouse, so that's a bit of Emperor energy surely in there. I very nearly picked the bearded iris plant as the Hierophant. Of course, the spikes reminded me of his hat. The iris meaning is good news, and Hierophant is, I suppose, somebody spreading good news. But now I've decided to leave that for now and to go with the Scotch broom. Another plant that I think also makes me think of the Hierophant, which I could have picked as well, are these grasses, which are just, every year I have to go in there and dig a load out. But that is very much kind of Hierophant energy, I think, for some reason. So that's it, guys, from Scotch broom for the Hierophant to hydrangeas for the Lovers to fences made from reclaimed pallets for the Emperor energy. That's it from the Magic Garden, and the second of the Garden Arcana. Luna's having a stretch. I hope you enjoyed that. I am loving working the garden, looking for tarot energy. It's just so fun. I'll leave links to Thea's video as well, because me and Thea are doing this together. Thea's video last week was so stunning. It was like garden poetry with tarot. It was just wonderful. So do go and check Thea's videos as well. She's amazing. And if you want to join in with this for this week's Garden Arcana, just let us know and use the tag, and it would be so lovely to see your garden, whatever that may be, whether it is a few pots on a windowsill, whatever it is, or if you don't have a garden, if it's somewhere local that you walk to, like a park or a woodland, or you know, somewhere that you go outside in nature. I don't want anybody excluded from this because they don't have a garden, because really nature is just a garden for us all, and it would just be so lovely to see the places, the natural places that you love as well. So if you have no garden but you want to join in, please join in anyway. In fact, definitely join in then, because it would just be wonderful to see. So thanks guys so much for watching. I hope I kept the camera a little bit more steady, and I'll see you next time.